Welcome back. It is 6:41. Time for Legally Speaking, as we always do on Fridays with Attorney Dave Beaches. We're talking about neighbor issues this morning, but before we get to that, we want to do a little callback from just a couple weeks ago, and the proof's in the pudding, right? We saw a parent get charged in a school shooting.
Listen, parents, I've been telling you out there, if you own a gun and you let your minor get to the gun, they're starting to charge parents criminally. If they allow those minors to have that weapon. So parents, please, you're going to get charged criminally. You're going to be held responsibly. All right, now to the topic at hand.
Yes, and we're talking about issues you may have with your neighbor from, a variety of different things. People live in close quarters, so this tends to happen. We've covered many stories over the years with animal hoarding, and sometimes, you have stray pets or maybe a smell affecting you nearby. If you're living somewhere, I mean, it's your home, it's your property, and you can't even feel like you can go outside because of that. Is there anything you can do?
So lawyers that don't practice in big cities and I are kindred spirits this morning, because there is not a lawyer out there who practices in neighborhoods that have neighbors that doesn't get a relative calling them saying, my neighbor's doing X, Y, and Z. It is the #1 question lawyers get from family members. So here are the rules. Your neighbors have to follow whatever zoning regulations there are. Now, some places in Mahoney County have no zoning. No zoning means they can hoard all they want on their land, okay? But if there are rules and zoning regulations about cars, trucks, junk in the yard, you have to be the squeaky wheel that gets the grease, okay? You have to complain to your councilman, to your trustee, to the zoning inspector, whoever. And if you live in a city that has zoning, there's requirements for keeping your yard. I have represented people in, say, like Struthers or Poland or Canfield who let, just junk pile in their yard, and they will eventually criminally charge you. Now, as for noxious smells, okay? Technically, you would have a right of a nuisance. You have a right to keep and live in your home nuisance-free. If your neighbor is burning trash, now I'm old enough to remember, because you're too young to remember, everyone used to burn leaves.
Listen, I had a burning barrel when I was at home.
Yeah, so we had a burning pit. My father and I'd collect the leaves, we'd go put them in the burning pit, we'd burn them. You could no longer do that. They have passed laws regarding burning leaves in it. But if your neighbor's doing something like that, you should call the police department, call the fire department. Noxious smells are a nuisance. A nuisance is a cause of action in the law. If people are trespassing on your land, there's a civil action called trespass to land. There's also a criminal action called criminal trespass. If you tell your neighbor, you can no longer come on my front porch, and your neighbor comes on your front porch, he's technically criminally trespassing onto your property. We inherited this from medieval times. Your home
is your castle, right?
At your castle. You're allowed to protect your castle. You're allowed to keep people off your castle. We in this country protect people in their homes. We even made a special amendment. I mean, think of these gentlemen 200 and some years ago saying, you can't come into my home unless you have a warrant. So that's how important and sacred the American jurisprudence system thinks about someone's home.
I have an interesting one to throw at you, and it comes to recreational marijuana. It's legal in Ohio now. What if you have a neighbor who smokes a lot, and maybe you live in close quarters and you feel like you can't go into your backyard without it and still enjoy it?
So the courts are always lagging behind sort of the new laws. Marijuana is now legal. Recreational marijuana is now legal. If someone's allowed to smoke in their backyard, but if it gets to a point where they're having ganji parties, okay, and the smell is so much that it creates a nuisance, you probably can have something done by that. But if someone's in their backyards blowing a joint or smoking a bowl or doing whatever, I mean, people are more into gummies nowadays, I guess, than they are the regular smoking. That's probably not going to be something you're able to do, because someone can go outside and smoke a cigar in their backyard, and if that blows over, there's not much you could do. People are allowed to enjoy their property. If it gets to a point where it's a nuisance, then you could do something about it. An inconvenience, where's that line? where lawyers and judges say that line is. How about that?
There you go. All right.
And I brought the goodies.
He did. As
For the
always,
love of
we're well
goodness, there they
prepared.
are.
And our director has a beauty
And Monday,
shot.
I'm here.
Yes, free legal advice
Free
coming
legal
up on
advice
Monday.
Don't forget, line up your calls. But gun parents, please lock up your guns from your minors.
There you go. There's your advice for Free Legal Monday. Dave, good to see you as always. Coming up.